making strategy games accessible without dumbing them down isn't an easy thing. I don't feel that strategy games are like a huge insurmountable wall, but I do think, like many sort of subdivisions of the game genre, we do end up talking to ourselves a lot and forgetting to lay out the welcome mat or open the door to other players.
Of all the video game genres, real-time strategy is perhaps one of the most intimidating. Its games cast players as puppeteers of grand battles, with mouse clicks and button presses pulling the strings of countless troops as they fight for resources, dominion, and the future of civilization.
It's no surprise then that RTS games are ultimately considered a niche, enjoyed by PC gamers with a well-honed acumen for strategy, but unfortunately in recent years, the strategy genre has become somewhat stagnant.
But within the broader landscape of modern gaming, the fundamental gameplay systems of real-time strategy have been democratized and popularized outside of the traditional PC gaming space. Titles such as Clash Royale, League of Legends, and Dota have achieved huge success by narrowing their focus.
Canadian studio Relic Entertainment has been at the forefront of RTS innovation on PC, with games such as Company of Heroes and Dawn of War. But as the genre it specializes in is finding success elsewhere, it's been forced to reassess and look inwards and find out what an RTS game is in 2017.
This year it launches Dawn of War 3. Relic's ambition for the long-awaited sequel is to create an approachable RTS that can break free of the niche confines the genre finds itself within. However, it hopes to do this without sacrificing the depth its audience have come to expect.
Amid an ever-evolving strategy genre and divisions in its key fanbase, Relic is fighting a battle for the future of the RTS.
Ahead of Dawn of War 3's launch, we talked to key development staff about the game's long journey through production, its failed prototypes, and how it's embracing its new dawn. Development on Dawn of War 3 first started back in 2011, after the launch of Dawn of War 2 Retribution. However, for Relic, the journey was wrought with twists and turns. At the time, the studio was working on Company of Heroes 2, while building early versions of Dawn of War 3. Amidst development on both projects, its parent company, THQ, faced bankruptcy. While its embattled publisher dealt with financial woes, Relic was forced to refocus entirely on Company of Heroes 2. Despite this shift in focus, the future of Dawn of War was constantly in the minds of its developers. As Relic searched for the shot of adrenaline it believed the RTS genre needed, the realities of business kept Dawn of War 3 stranded in development limbo for over half a decade.
The Dawn of War 3 we have today isn't the same beast that was conceived under THQ. With our time at Relic, we learned that many refer to the current iteration as Dawn of War 3.
Two hugely different games, codenamed Atlas and Morningstar, were in development after the success of Dawn of War 2 Retribution. THQ's bankruptcy, however, left Relic without a publisher and facing an uncertain future. It had lost its financial support as well as the license for what had become its most popular franchise.
Dawn of War 3 has had, in some ways, a long history. There was never really a question of whether we would make a Dawn of War 3, it was just when and how. As you know, we used to be owned by THQ, and then THQ went bankrupt, and we were acquired by Sega. Before the bankruptcy, there had been a start of an earlier version of Dawn of War 3, in fact, two earlier versions of Dawn of War 3.
There was the one that was being worked on near the end of THQ, Morningstar. We were with that really trying to embrace big units. Because when you look at the tabletop game, you got these little guys that you can paint with your little paintbrush, and then you got these big things like this, and you're like, I want that and that in the same battlefield. Like it seems to be like the obvious extension of the fantasy.
We had a prototype that was built, and that was quite interesting. It had a lot of parallels with what we have now, but it was purely in a prototype stage. It was placeholder assets and placeholder map. We only had like one or two maps that we'd even tried it on. But it was about that time that THQ started to not have the resources necessary to keep us going as a team, and it was around that time that there was a large layoff, and our project was shelved.
With Atlas, we really were wanting to experiment more with, I say experiment more with, with other ideas that are happening in the strategy genre at the time.
We built a prototype off of the Last Stand gameplay that would have been a free-to-play product. It was certainly fun. It was certainly a nice evolution of Last Stand. And it was right around that time that that the THQ bankruptcy was declared, and studios and publishers started looking at IPs and the studios within the THQ umbrella, and we got picked up by Sega.
After we were acquired by Sega, there was, a desire for us to do Dawn of War 3. Sega acquired the rights from Games Workshop to do that, and we were ready to go.
Yes, it was a bunch of false starts, so to speak, but it all informed the Dawn of War 3 that you have now. A way to think about it is you're getting like 4 games worth of ideas distilled down into one. So I think that speaks to, part of our culture here and our drive and our passion for the genre and the product itself.
Despite its current ambition to appeal to a wider audience and make it more accessible, Dawn of War 3, in its various iterations, has always been rooted in tabletop. It's always been connected to that hardcore gaming lineage.
Through its 20 years within the strategy genre, Relic has learned to strike the balance between making a game accessible while also delivering the depth to make it mechanically rewarding for genre enthusiasts. But for all their expertise in the genre, they haven't managed to break through to a mainstream audience. RTS is a complex genre, and Warhammer 40k is a dense universe filled with lore rivaling the likes of Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. Relic has been vocal about Dawn of War 3 being an approachable RTS set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe.
But fans of both have voiced concerns that this could mean concessions to gameplay and an unwillingness to delve into the complexities of the Warhammer 40k universe.
As much as Relic wants to appeal to a wider mainstream audience, its hardcore fans are just as critical to the success of Dawn of War 3. With this in mind, I thought it fair to put these concerns directly to the team.
Well, I'd ask them to play the game.
I think the community needs to play the game more.
I would want to know if they've played it. Thinking about the accessibility term as like, oh, they're watering down those options, I can't state how far that is from the truth. What accessibility means for us is how can we make the game more welcoming to a broader audience, right? Like, I believe that there's a ground in the middle, right? Like, there's a hyper accessible, we're gonna hold your hand through this path, and then there's the super steep learning curve. We're gonna pay more attention to the complexity of our systems and not give you a hand in learning those systems, right? Because we trust that you already know what you're doing.
In having a complex game, if you can't surface that complexity and it's hidden from you, you never discover that. Discovering the complexity or discovering a tactic or something like that, there's kind of, that's like the second level of like, there's just having your combat, and then there's having the discovery of you as a player be like, oh, I could do this.
I think there's absolutely room for games that really focus on the hardcore, but just because you open the door a little wider doesn't mean the house is any less complex. It doesn't mean that there are fewer rooms in the house, as it were. So I would ask them to play it themselves and give it a try.
Throughout my time with Relic, they had a confidence with the balance they've struck with Dawn of War 3. But as we wait for the fans' reception on release day, where does this put Relic? Are they still the powerhouse pioneers of strategy? And are the moves they've made with Dawn of War 3 an indication to the direction of the RTS genre as a whole?
The intent is that this is a return to, the high quality games that we've always done, but this is showing that, we're back, Dawn of War is back, and a promise that Relic is going to continue to produce these high quality games. Ultimately, those are the things that it sounds really cheesy for me to say it, right? Like, I believe in this game to the bottom of my being. I've poured my heart and soul into it. Ultimately, it's going to be the consumers, the players, who are going to have that judgment. It's up to them whether they love it or not.
To me, what I hope we're at is a place where we're continuing to push the genre, and that we don't say, oh, well, that was successful, so let's just, you know, rest on our laurels. I want to continue to push, and I want to continue to challenge the boundaries of what strategy can be. I think that that's probably where Relic will continue to go, and I hope that I'm right, and that we continue to make and continue to challenge the genre.
Thank you so much for watching this behind the scenes look at the making of Dawn of War 3. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Now, personally, I'm a massive Dawn of War fan, and I'm a massive Warhammer fan as well, so this project was an amazing opportunity for me, so I would really love to know your thoughts. And if you did like this video, well, we've got another one coming very shortly. It's all about Relic, the history of the studio, and its legacy. We spent maybe 2 days with the guys in Vancouver, so we've got some great interviews, some great thoughts, so I really hope you check it out. So until I see you on that video, I will see you next time.